way to ask that question. A pleasant good afternoon to you, our viewers watching NTN Live. We have another program here for you with regard to St. Lucia's COVID-19 response. Live from the GIS studios, the Information Command Center. My name is Jessie Leonce, and in studio, my colleague, as usual, Carlton Cyril, to provide Creole translations and engage our guests in Creole as well. We were just talking about adaptation to this whole new reality we have of COVID-19 in St. Lucia, persons needing to make real changes in their lives. And speaking of which, the education system has had to make certain alterations to the way they deliver services to the students of St. Lucia. This term, beginning the new academic term for this year, beginning on April 20th, will be a learning from home term. It will be a learning from home term, and as we continue to reiterate, you should not be preparing your children's school uniforms and preparing lunch bags and so on. There will be no face-to-face classes. The children will be learning from home. And as such, arrangements are being made by the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development to ensure that proper instruction from the teachers is conveyed to the students. In studio this afternoon, we have Mr. Jermaine Anthony, the curriculum specialist of technology integration, and Mr. Royston Emmanuel, in Education Technology Officer at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So just to open up, online instruction, how will this pan out, and how have you been engaging the teachers of St. Lucia in preparation for online instruction?
So I'll probably start. First, I want to, hopefully this discussion today will help us alleviate some of the anxiety and tension parents have and teachers have about, the closure of school and what we're doing in the third term. For one thing, the chief education officer was here, the PS, and the intention really is to reduce the expectations for achievement for the term, to the extent that we're focusing on revising material, helping students maybe cover some of the areas that they were not able to cover sufficiently. So we don't want parents to feel that we are trying to push through the same pace of work, the same amount of content that would have happened in a regular term. To the teachers as well, in as much as we anticipate that, we have to make that transition, COVID-19 or not, we have to make that transition so that teachers can leverage technologies in the way they support instruction. We are not expecting miracles to happen overnight. And so what we've started to do, and we are continuing to do, is to train teachers and support teachers so that they are able to use some of the online learning platforms, e-learning platforms, whatever you call them, so that they have that option in their toolkit, that they're able to use technologies like Edmodo, like Google Classroom, like Moodle, so that they would be able to give instructional support for the time being. And this is really a short to medium term set of goals we have for now, and as we proceed, as we deliver more training, more support, more guidance, more coaching to the teachers and to the parents, and of course not forgetting the students, we're hoping that we'll be able to build a whole education delivery system that is more resilient, that is more flexible, and at the end of the day it is more relevant and more of value to the learners in the system.
Okay. Integrating technology into our education system has been in the planning for quite some time. Can you tell us about efforts that were ongoing even prior to the COVID-19 situation?
Is that my question or Royston's?
I can answer.
Whichever it applies to.
Okay, go ahead.
On our end, just want to say that this narrative about online learning and e-learning that has become so prominent now is nothing new. We need to establish that. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, we just want teachers to teach online. Okay, this just didn't happen. Despite of COVID-19, this was something that we were working towards for a very long time. And I just want to dispel another myth that, we had this notion that every and anybody can just learn online or teach online. I mean, there are sectors in the education system that cannot realistically work in a fully online modality, and we have to understand that and respect that. And so our response right now is to look at the ways that we can facilitate that, okay, to the best of the ability of our teachers, our administrators, and most obviously the technology, okay? So we have to establish that first of all.
Okay.
When it comes to teacher preparation for e-learning, and I want to use that term instead of online learning, because e-learning means integration of technology into what we do in the classroom, whether it is the physical space or the extended space, the virtual space. I want to say that we have been working with teachers for a very long time. From 2007, as part of teacher training, technology in education has been very prominent, okay? So if we count the number of years, let's say 13 years of training for 2 cohorts of teachers in both primary, secondary education and the Bachelor of Education program, all those teachers have been exposed to that kind of training, okay? Whether or not they had opportunities to apply it is really dependent on the context in which they went back, okay? So we have to consider that. But the point is, okay, teachers had initial exposure in their teacher training to that from the year 2007. So you're asking what are we doing to prepare teachers?
Operations that preceded the COVID-19 situation.
Right. So these were things that were happening already. We had worked on a number of training sessions, and I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who works with the ministry, and the contribution that Sarah Lewis Community College makes, has made, okay, to that enterprise. So we have done digital literacy training. We have done training in using some of the e-learning platforms like Google Classroom, Moodle. Okay, we have done training in actual technology integration, and that is not limited to virtual teaching. And I guess Jermaine will add that there have been a number of organizations, a number of partners that have come on board to support that. So this has been an ongoing enterprise. Whether it is sufficient right now for what we're trying to do, and we call it emergency, online response teaching, etc. Obviously, it will never be sufficient because this caught us by surprise. We have to admit that. We have to appreciate that. The COVID-19 situation is something that really caught us by surprise when it came to the closure of schools. So, but what is important to note is that a number of teachers, a lot of teachers in the system have had initial exposure and have had other exposure and are having continued exposure to the tools, the pedagogies, importantly the pedagogies, how to teach using the technology. A number of them have had that exposure.
Okay. Can you speak to the reception? Because you mentioned exposure, the teachers are not, it's not alien to them. Can you speak to the reception of teachers? I mean, at the various schools, the various communities, dynamics vary from district to district. Their reception to the e-learning engagement.
Well, we've just been this week, as was announced previously, lending support in that way. So at the secondary school level, our focus has been on providing support for Google Classroom training. And at the primary school, we tended to focus more on Edmodo as a platform. Some schools, by the way, already have had platforms that they were using. I can tell you, for example, Cicero Secondary is one of the schools that had a learner management system in use. EDU 2.0, Neo, LMS. Some schools, a couple were using Moodle as well. But what I can tell you is some of the feedback I have so far, because we had the teachers fill up some evaluation form for the training done just yesterday. And I think the reception has been amazing, that the teachers were very happy. They thought that the training was relevant to what they were doing or their needs as professionals in the teaching system, teaching profession. They thought that I think about 60% of them were saying that they wanted additional time, additional support. Definitely they were pleased with the presenters that we had for the training, the facilitators. And by the way, I want to just say that the presenters we've had, we could not have done, a fraction of what we've been able to achieve this week without them. Many of these presenters and facilitators are actually secondary school teachers in the system Some of them were trained by Royston. They were trained on the different programs we've had through collaboration with agencies like the Commonwealth of Learning, OAS, I-10, and teachers are always, from my experience, always willing to learn. I think they all recognize the current situation, what it is, and no teacher worth their salt wants to be left out right now. They really want to be able to leverage technology, whichever means, whichever way they can. And I think you also alluded earlier to what resources are available. I think Royston did, sorry. So in as much as we'd been carrying out some of these training activities before COVID-19, there was certain, mitigating factors, limitations, because perhaps access to a device is an issue for a teacher.
We'll come to that.
Perhaps internet access at the school is another issue. And those are issues we have been addressing. We were just celebrating the fact that the CXCE program had delivered for us high broadband, internet in all of our schools, just before COVID-19 struck. And it just goes to show that sometimes no matter how much preparation you make, something else can come and prove that you're not fully prepared. But to answer your question briefly, the reception from the teachers has been overwhelmingly positive.
Wonderful. Yeah. You mentioned trainings. Tell us about that. Trainings this week.
Yeah, so training this week has really been online. And so we were able to rally a number of what we call digital education leaders who are training, who have been in the secondary school. These individuals were people who were trained, again, training facilitated by Royston right here, among other sessions. And these teachers in the first place have been supporting Google Classroom training at their own schools. Okay. Some of them had actually begun their activities before this week. And as of yesterday, we were able to deliver to all the 8 districts Edmodo training to a number of primary school teachers. And so the facilitators worked in some cases in pairs, some worked individually, and were able to deliver the training 2 sessions yesterday via, some use Google Meet, some use Zoom. And the reaction I spoke about just a while ago came from the evaluation of these activities. But we are aware, based on what we're seeing in the data from what the teachers are saying, that the support has to continue. Okay.
You've been flinging around terms like Edmodo and Moodle, and that technical jargon, is lost on a lot of people, including myself, with certain terms. So if you could just give us elucidate us on some of these learning platforms, what they do, how they can facilitate both learners and instructors.
I think Royston will want to speak to maybe the distinctions to some of them.
Some of them, yeah. Okay. Well, each of these tools, or sometimes we call them services, they support the interaction between the learner, the teacher, and of course the learning resources, the materials. But some of them do it in different ways. Okay? So a tool like Google Classroom will allow a teacher to upload materials such as presentations, videos, and text, and short quizzes using Google Forms. So that will assess the learner's understanding of concepts. Okay, it's the learning curve for this one is quite low. It's easier to use for both students and teachers. The only setback is really the creation of email addresses, and so you have to use Google Classroom with a certain age group. Okay, with Edmodo easily caters for the primary level, and Edmodo has existing resources that teachers can use, and of course teachers can also create and add resources to that. So it's just a central platform, like a website that the parents can go to, students can go to access resources.
User-friendly?
User-friendly. Now, Moodle is another dimension by itself, because Moodle allows us, the benefit of Moodle as a learning management system is that it allows us to own our data, own our resources. We're not placing it on a third-party platform. We hosting that, and so all the information that goes in there is kind of more secure, and it actually belongs to us. And I always make that distinction. among, when I talk about these things with practitioners, that you need to make a decision whether you want to use a third-party tool or you want to set up your own. For me, the critical benefit of Moodle is that it can allow teachers to collaborate across the board. So you could have one grade 1 class across the island, and every single teacher can contribute resources and just make the work easier, basically.
Okay. And how soon, the start of the term begins April 20th, how soon can we see this really chugging along smoothly?
So I think we can expect that some teachers, well, many teachers in fact, will be able to deliver content by that date. And again, I want to stress that this is not, there is not an expectation that content and activities will be delivered at the same pace as if school was fully open. But definitely all the teachers who have participated in the training so far will be able to, and there are some teachers who have been trained prior anyways. So they will be able to deliver the content, but we are mindful that not every child, not every home, not every parent can afford or can deliver access to a computer or the internet. And so, I mean, the answer is not as simple as a date and a time, but in summary, we think most teachers will be able to provide some type of e-learning support, some type of online access to content by the 20th.
Okay, in terms of hardware, constraints with getting devices, I know there's a program that's ongoing, pilot projects, where devices were being obtained, but not enough for every student, every teacher on island under these circumstances. Can you give us a little more information in terms of the devices that can be made available to certain teachers, students?
From my point of view, and I can't really speak to every initiative the ministry is undertaking for delivering devices. But from my point of view, it's very important we look at supporting the teachers so that they have the resources to deliver training through that type of mode. The teacher will definitely need to have a device.
Yes.
And how we configure that, how we do it, I suppose depends on what policy approach is taken.
But nothing has been finalized.
So there is in the working, and again, it's an emergency response, we have to agree to that.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at ways and means of getting devices to the teachers as quickly as possible. And one of the things that has been done so far is we've pushed out some assessment forms so we can find out from the teachers what the situation is, who is their mobile carrier, what type of data plan they have, for example, what device are they using currently, what platforms have they been using. So the ministry has been collecting that information over the past 3 or 4 weeks, and so we are now looking at that information, and the policy unit in the ministry will based on what resources are available to them, will make determinations as to how best they can support teachers.
Okay. Mr. Emmanuel, can you give us some information as to the efforts being undertaken by the South Louis Community College to ensure that their students continue learning?
Okay, well, prior to the shutdown of schools, we had developed a continuity plan. Okay, and at the forefront of that plan was leveraging our e-learning resources to support continued instruction for our students. We did recognize that a number of our faculty were not really prepared for this modality, and so we had to decide on giving them that exposure, just doing the training, rapid training, to at least get them, used to using the tools, etc. Another issue we had was just finding the students, finding out whether they had access, whether they didn't have access, and so we had to send out some surveys to both faculty and students to determine what the situation was on the ground. Having done that, we made a number of decisions. We worked with the ISPs to try to enhance the students' access. We worked with the radio stations, TV stations to get in touch with students. We used WhatsApp groups, etc. And we were able to get students to sign on to our e-learning platform. And so as we speak right now, we have over 1,900 students enrolled on the platform. Okay, we were able to do a good bit of training. We have conducted about 18 training sessions right now, and the result of that is that we have 260 courses now on our e-learning platform. And so I can say we have at least 80% of our students engaged, interacting, and learning on our platform. I want to say that that effort was just the phenomenal effort of our faculty, our administration, our IT unit, our educational technology unit. It was a team effort, okay, for people to recognize the need, for that kind of continuity in these kind of so uncertain times. Okay, but that being said, we still have a lot of work to do. I want to address the impression that a lot of people have that everything will be smooth sailing when you're doing e-learning or online learning. It is not. There is a lot of uncertainty. There are students who may not be able to be reached even though they are on the platform, who may not be able to learn effectively on the platform. Okay, there are teachers, faculty who may still have difficulty using the platform. And so it is indeed a learning process. It's a growing process. Okay, and so what we have advised our faculty to do is sometimes you need to just slow down. You need to slow down, learn the thing, get used to it, okay? And I'm saying the same thing when it comes to our mainstream education system, okay, that we shouldn't have unrealistic expectations as to the success of this, that we should see this as an opportunity to engage our learners and to improve the skills of our educators. That is the first step.
Okay. Mr. Anthony, preparations for CXCE, we understand that when it does come on stream, it will be done online. Can you give us any information from your ministry standpoint as to the advancement of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So CXCE has, in fact, been making the transition to online for the last 3 years. And in fact, I think for the past 2 years or so, we've been doing the piloting of e-testing in St. Lucia. And even the paper one, what we call the multiple choice, that has been already done for some of the CSEC courses. This year was supposed to be the year where we're going to implement it fully, meaning that mathematics, English, all the courses would have been tested using a computer online. COVID-19 doesn't change that so much, except to say, I think CXCE has looked to shift the date further down the line. That has a couple implications. For us, obviously, when you're dealing with trying to accommodate 120 students who are doing mathematics in one sitting at a school, you need to have the equipment in place. So the IT unit of the ministry has been working on that before COVID-19 was even a phrase. And so that is in place. Some of the facilities, including the ICT centers, all of these will play a role. But definitely in terms of equipment, in terms of computer lab spaces, these, the Ministry of Education has been working on these in preparation for CXCE testing. The other implication is for Safa Lewis. Safa Lewis does not know that CXCE results will be ready when it's time for the enrollment in September. And so we're trying to work, Safa Lewis has approached ministry, and although I don't want to speak for the ministry officially on that one, but we've agreed in principle that we are going to work on making sure that each student writing CXCE has a transcript available of their Form 4 and Form 5 work, so that come September, Safa Lewis can have a notion of that student's long-term performance, cumulative performance, over the past 2 years. So Safa might be able to leverage that information to see how they might accommodate enrollment in the new year. So that is related to the same CSEC question. Okay. Will the students have to be in a physical room to do the CSEC testing? Most likely, yes. And we're hoping and we're praying that COVID-19, at least we would have been at another phase by then, so that the scare, the fear, the trepidation about social distancing, all of that would have been a lot lower then. So that is how I would respond to that.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Anthony and Mr. Emmanuel. And just to let you know, our viewers watching on television and online, we have a double interview again coming up in just a moment. The first and second Vice President of the National Council on Public Transport, Mr. Kentry Frederick and Mr. Michael Flood, and they will be coming in to speak on, among other issues, the fuel rebate that the Prime Minister mentioned in his social stabilization plan. We invite you to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Carlton.
Merci, Monsieur Léon. Vraiment dit bonjour encore et bon après-midi pour vous qui écoutez nous et qui suivez nous. Yon manière l'autre sur Internet, peut-être sur radio avec nous sur télévision GIS NTN. Nous ici à Command Center Headquarters Vermin COVID-19 qu'on nous te promet, nous te gagner plus d'informations là vini pour système éducation. Nous continuons à dire ici là vini pour Vermin COVID là déjà affecté tout département gouvernement pas de la vie nous et quoi bagay ni pour mettre en place ou kay bien changer nous tenir mon hors département éducation yo vinn ici quand chaque information yo te disséminé ba nous et puis là yo te promettre nous te kay plus information c'est ça nous qu'a fait ici ba information pas de temps nous ni développement pont i ka fait ou kay observer nous ni des jeunes noms dans studio et puis nous yon c'est monsieur Anthony département éducation c'est lui qui directement responsable kay savent les paroles de parler ici engagement et puis c'est teacher maman l'école computer intégration ça les venir pour faire computer et toutes ces bagages ça li responsable en manière dans l'autre et puis ni monsieur Emmanuel nous ca parler de plus grand l'école nous Louis Community College qui a représenté ici moi ca jeune homme bienvenue et moi ca question l'idée et tout le monde et puis Jesse te ka parler par exemple avec moi ouais hot ha adressé en chay ces bagages là monde de ka vle savent moi ka dit tout le monde son annoncement fait nous avons commencé l'école le 20 lundi le 20 avril quoi moi Jesse bon matin nous fait bien clair ça pas veut dire monde et bien l'école qui ouvert tout partout pour maman l'école là pour machine et bien transporter à l'école il était bien explanation de banou ici ça qui a fait à présent monde qui a commencé à prendre la caillou par internet par laptop computer et puis la question c'est est-ce que l'école là qui ouvert pour les 20 et là venu pour vous monsieur Anthony est-ce que semaine ça t'es supposé une semaine pour mettre caillou en note c'est teacher c'est supposé qu'à apprendre c'est maman là supposé ouais comme qui panique qui ça fait dis-nous qui ça qui j'ai fait et côté nous y là venu pour lundi le 20 côté nous y à présent I mean ou pas supposé ou pas aller en détail mais ça nous voulons savoir c'est côté est les ichmoin levé lundi et nous dit l'école est bagage en place pour l'école commencer fête côté teacher là kay maman là kayo.
OK. So manière moi ça répondre c'est nous avons fait en chaque préparation avec ces teachers semaine ça et peut-être avant ça nous avons fait préparation avec en chaque autre teacher aussi. Et ça nous voulons faire c'est nous voulons ces teachers ça servir computer yo servir internet pour yo ça mettre toute qualité n'importe information c'était mal brisé travail pour yo practice et nous pas expect that c'est tema la kani pour asson computer depuis 9h jusqu'à 3h après-midi non ça nous ka espérer c'est déjà ka bail c'est tema la anti-zing travail pour yo faire so yo ka ni en peut-être en homework en bail pour yo faire la caillou pour tenir yo occupé so that pendant temps yo la caillou pas venir l'école là yo ça apprendre toujours aussi nous avons ça communiquer avec ces teachers si on a une question si on a une difficulté ils savent et bien teacher quand il a de matin à 10h et bien n'importe l'heure so c'est ça nous le fait so ces teachers que nous a train nous a engagé ils aussi posé quand ça fait ça depuis l'hiver.
OK. Quand si moi bien comprendre, si même ça ou a travaillé puis c'est teacher ou a entraîné yo, ça manière pour servir et computer et puis là hot haka met bagay en place. On doit bien même dire, c'est pas bagay qui commence hier. Hot te haka fait c'est là l'école qui était ni ces programmes ça, yo te haka servi. Moi ka quoi en parmi question moun ka demandé expressément là ni pour faire puis département et puis ministère. Ça qui a fait avec mamay qui pas ni yon Internet, mamay D, et nous t'ai parlé, Jean ministre a adressé ça pour dire, il y a 4 ans là. Mamay qui pas ni équipement computer, laptop, et puis pas ni Internet. Qui manière est-ce la décision, sur qui manière a adressé ça?
So nous d'accord que nous savons, c'est pas tout cas, c'est pas tout le monde qui ni computer là caillou. Et Internet là même c'est un lot difficulté pour un chaimoun. Et ministère j'ai parlé avec mon comme Digicel, Flow et UNICEF, différentes organisations pour ça travailler tablette, ça nous a créé tablette computer, laptop, so nous voulons try regarder qui manière nous a assister ces familles ça. Et la famille qui n'est plus pareil, on seul Jamaïca upon the Kaila. So nous regarder ça aussi. So Digicel et Flow a d'accord l'année ça manière ça aider nous, aider ses teachers, aider ses parents. So you ça joindre internet pour un mois, 2 mois cadeau. Et nous avons espéré ça assister ces familles ça aussi.
OK. Vite moi je voulais parler sur les vini pour common entrance nous t'en à présent common entrance là as a result de ça qui a fait là et puis aussi CXCE nous avons common entrance je parlais dit ça fait comment on dit là multiple choice et moi là choisi A B B C pour qui ça et qui prend différentes manières parlant de ta case est-ce que bagay en place les vini pour ça?
Pour Common Entrance là, oui, nous travaillons sur ça toujours pour nous faire. C'est un exemple qui est très important.
Oui.
So nous parlons faire un bail qui moun kay voulait questionner, demander qui manière kay fait. So les tout bail déjà un autre bail déjà préparé, ministère kay fait annoncement sur ça. Mais pour CXCE nous savons CXCE ka continuer, mais yo envoyé qui m'a même changé en finissement juillet moi quoi.
Oui.
So nous ka espérer même si CXCE a marché comme peut-être sans problème, mais il ka plus tard nous ka espérer peut-être ces résultats ka viennent plus tard et ça faut Louis regarder qui manière yo ça joindre toujours qui performance c'est maman là so yo ka savent peut-être qui manière yo ka ça commencer enregistrer yo peut-être en septembre et bien octobre.
OK. Merci vous parlez de ça Louis vite maman ni les capuchon les maman ni monsieur Royston Emmanuel et puis quand travailler puis ça Louis qui bien important les nous venir pour ça qui a fait à présent. En d'ailleurs des morceaux parole moi je veux adresser situation parce que y en a ces bagages là maintenant nous parler là de parler avec gestion ou te dit c'est pas un bagage qui a commencé à résultat du Covid. C'est hot haka travail depuis 2007. Hot haka travail en ça. Dis-moi qui ça qui j'ai fait parce que maintenant nous dit hot a tourné et mais qui 18 sessions hot a fait 18 et puis en 1900 c'est mamay hot là hot a contacté yo. Quoi juste Annick dis-moi qu'on ça fait qui ça qui ça a mis en place côté nous y à présent les vini pour ça fait lui contribution il est venu pour tout ça qui a fait là.
OK, ouais. Nous partons jamais. Nous sommes toujours dans l'école. OK? Ça c'est ça le bail.
L'école partons jamais de les venir pour ça.
Oui. Nous sommes des monde qui a crié, c'est un mail là, qui a ensure yo fait travail yo. OK? So nous te mettre tout bail en place. Pour ça. OK? Ça nous ka try faire. Nous ka try aider ministry avec ces teachers. Pour service c'est
service computer
pas juste computer mais toutes ces bails là qui à l'internet là pour pour well
Ils font un programme
oui,
pour ces mamans là.
pour teacher là avec bail quoi. Puis c'est computer pas ça teacher moun. OK, c'est moun qui ka teach moun, teacher qui ka teach, nous pas ça oublier ça.
Information
Oui,
computer.
oui, computer pas faire ça. OK, so nous ni pour travailler nous ka aider ministère, nous ka travailler avec ministère pour préparer teacher pour ça et pour une manière aider ces parents OK, pour yo comprendre qui manière OK yo ça service by ça avec ces maman yo. OK, shy power not a shy power mais moun pas parler about ses parents et ça yo kay besoin pour yo bien aider ces maman là well comment on dit à la caillou homeschooling oui c'est là yo kay apprendre
l'école ça et pour vous même on ka venir pour collaborer puis ministère parce que nous ka bien ça c'est teacher c'est là yo ka apprendre c'est là yo étudier quoi on ka aider mon tourner on ka travailler puis yo en manière ça et bien messieurs dames nous ka ou comprendre puis bagay la plus clair nous ni qu'on nous dit et puis moun pour parler bail mais nous ka nous a fait plus clair ba ou qui manière bagay la ka oui l'école ka ouvert bagay en place ça moi bien content d'entendre ces jeunes hommes dans ces dates qui nous pas ni tout bagay pas fait mais bagay en place et pas dit temps bagay qu'a fait yo ka tourner monde toujours yo ka apprendre mais bagay ka trouver quoi mettre en place ni parents ni teacher et puis ministère tout le monde pour travailler ensemble qu'on nous bien dit c'est première fois qu'a fait ma pièce on a fait première fois qu'a fait mais nous ka travailler et pour nous ici même ka ba information qu'on nous handy merci un peu Jesse.
Thank you, Carlton. Mr. Royston Emmanuel, Education Technology Officer, CXCE, and Mr. Jermaine Anthony, Curriculum Specialist, Technology Integration at the Ministry of Education. Any final words, concluding words?
Well, I just want to share that, especially with the teachers out there in the system. I know a lot of them, they've been through our courses, our programs, that they themselves should not have how will I call it, unrealistic expectations as to how well things will go. Things will go well. Things may go wrong at some point at some point or the other. But what we hoping is that the teachers will use those as lessons on how to improve how they integrate the technology in their instruction. Okay, I want to point again to the parents. That one of the things I am hoping to see, that we hoping to see, is that in some way, somehow, we can bring something to the parents that will help them understand how to carry out this homeschooling, tips, advice, how to set routines for the students. A lot of talk, there's a lot of talk on the technology, on the hardware, but we can't forget the human element, which is critical to that. Okay, we have to understand that for the students, that teachers have to ensure that the students don't have too much cognitive load, too much to do at one time, and the parents can suffer from it too. Because if a parent has 3 children going to 3 different schools, it is a lot of cognitive load for the parent. Okay, so I'm using this opportunity to tell the teachers, to tell the ministry, the people out there that my philosophy is let's take it slow, take our time, do it well. Okay, instead of doing it rushed and just making a mess. Okay.
Mr. Anthony?
Yeah. So my message to the parents, c'est pas tout teacher qui même. Not every teacher is the same. And so you can expect the relationship between teacher and student might vary depending on which teacher. Some teachers are in fact struggling to catch up with the pace. Some teachers have been going beyond the pace. Some other complaints we got was some teachers are saying so much work to the parents, through their WhatsApp, etc., and the parents were inundated. So, understandably, there's going to be some teething pains. We have to expect that. There's some things parents can also do. If you have older siblings, younger siblings, they can teach each other. They can do that. I would say to the teachers as well, understand that this is a slower period. The students are not in a necessarily disciplined environment. The access is the problem. And so, yes, you want to keep them engaged. You want to keep them active. But you have to give students enough time, especially in an online environment, You don't want to give students assignments today for tomorrow. You need to give them a week. You need to give them time to go for it. You need to also establish some kind of routine with them. So if you are able to make yourself available to the students online, decide, let them know, you'll discuss what time it is and keep it regular so that we're in an emergency situation. So routine always helps to deal with those things. So having said that, we can expect, yes, a reduced pace for instruction and assessment, but that doesn't mean we should stop. And so I want to ask the parents to also bear some patience and understanding of the situation the teachers are in, because the teachers themselves, many of them are parents, and they have their own children to worry about. And finally, I'll just say I want to really, really commend and show appreciation for many of our digital education leaders at the secondary schools, who are the ones who are carrying the weight in terms of getting the other teachers on board to learn to use those technologies, those platforms. Royston as well, who's running this Moodle training series of webinars on Facebook. This has been tremendous in helping the ministry meet its goals for getting teachers to understand Moodle and to use Moodle. So I would stop here. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And the Moodle training is ongoing today and Monday?
Yes, so we're on at 3 o'clock today. Guys, join, learn something. We've created a sandbox for you to go in and practice. You can't break anything.
Thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it, Mr. Anthony, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you so much. We continue the discourse, the COVID-19 response here in St. Lucia with representatives from the National Council on Public Transport. We will be hearing from the first and the second Vice President, Mr. Kentry Frederick and Mr. Michael Flood after this break. Do stay tuned.
Coronavirus? But children are safe, no?
Hold up. Children are actually more likely to touch all kinds of surfaces, put their hands on their mouths and their eyes, or sneeze.
We at war with a virus, ready to harm us. Panic is not the answer. We can win this together.
Often use hand sanitizer. Better yet, use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging are up. No, no.
Advice, give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
Wash your hands, wash them before
eating or handling food or caring for infants, sick or elderly people.
Wash your hands, wash them after
using the toilet, touching raw meat, handling pets and livestock, playing outdoors, cleaning or handling waste and garbage.
Wash your hands, wash them often.
You are going right when you make a habit of washing your hands several times a day.
This message brought to you courtesy the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Coronavirus? But children are safe, no?
Hold up. Children are actually more likely to touch all kinds of surfaces, put their hands on their mouths and their eyes, or sneeze and cough with little thought about hygiene when around others. While children have been seen to recover well from this virus, they can easily spread it to those more at risk, like the elderly or ill persons who have a weaker immune system. Teach the little ones in your care to be little powerhouses of infection prevention. Keep reminding them, wash, wash, wash your hands. Cover your mouth with tissue or your inner elbow when you sneeze and cough. And be sure to praise them when you see them taking these precautions. Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Information Service. If you're just joining us, a pleasant good afternoon to you. My name is Jessie Leonce and I'm joined in studio by my colleague Carlton Cyril, better known as Cox, to do Creole translations and engage our guests in Creole as well. This afternoon, we have in studio with us two guests from the National Council on Public Transport. First Vice President, Mr. Kentry Frederick, and Second Vice President, Mr. Michael Flood. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Good day.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
I can imagine, like all sectors, the public transport system has been going through it in terms of dealing with the COVID-19. Can you just give us an understanding as to the atmosphere right now amongst the public transport system, the workers, the drivers? What is going through their minds right now? How are they feeling right now?
Okay, thank you very much for having us today. Actually, the atmosphere with the operators is one where we did a lot of groundwork, and as we move along, I'll explain that. From the beginning of March, and we were able to put them into the mode to understand that what we are getting to do is a sacrifice for the country to save ourselves and our country from what is supposed to come. So in as much as it is very strenuous financially, they do understand that it is a sacrifice that we all had to get into and then have us protected from this menace called COVID.
Okay, and with the curfews and the shutdown, as you mentioned, it has come at a cost to the operators. Talk to us about that. To what extent has this sacrifice been?
Okay, if I may start from the beginning of March, to be precise, the week leading up to the 15th of March, we had the consultation with the Ministry of Health officials and the Ministry of Transport through the Minister of Transport, where we realized we had to do an island-wide campaign in terms of sensitizing minibus operators island-wide and also engaging them with the health professionals from the Ministry of Health. So on the 15th of March, we met with all associations. We invited all associations in the South, that is from Monrepo all the way across to Soufre. We had that meeting at the Viewport Comprehensive Campus B, where the Ministry of Health explained to them how to handle yourself in terms of protecting yourself and the washing of your hands and all of that in relation to COVID. The NCOPT aspect of it was to prepare them for the emergency shutdown, if it had come to that, if it was supposed to come to that, curfew and all other details that we had previously discussed with the Minister of Transport. We also did that on the 16th with the associations in the West. So all associations in the West, Canris, Ancillary, Marigot, Millet, Havana, and so on, they were invited to the Marigot Combined School, Marigot Secondary School on the 16th of March. On the 17th, we met all associations within the Castries Basin, that is Entrepot and so on, at the Entrepot Secondary School. On the 18th of March, we met with those, the Dennery North and Dennery South, the same procedure. On the 22nd, we met with the associations in the North, including Grosley, Babono, and so on. And on the 27th of March, having completed that cycle with the Ministry of Health and the executive of NCOPT, the executive of NCOPT then had an emergency executive meeting. So at that stage, we covered the island, and then by that time, the Ministry of Transport were ready to shut down the office, likewise, the office of NCOPT. So there was the preparatory work for that. It did not just hit us, we prepared, but there was ongoing dialogue throughout with the Minister of Transport and the Ministry of Transport officials, along with the professionals from the Ministry of Health.
So operators have been kept in the loop from day one?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Brown, if you may.
Okay. As per of course, the sacrifices that public transport operators are making, I must say that I am very happy with the level of support that we've gotten from the public transport drivers. As you may be aware, for the last 2 weeks, the 2H buses, which is Vieux-Fort, they've not been able to operate because of the zoning of the country. Yet still you don't hear them complaining. Whilst we moved from the 10 passenger to a bus to 7, majority of the drivers in the north are still operating. So it is of great importance for us to understand the sacrifices that they've made and they continue to make, and to ensure that moving forward that they kept well informed, and of course that whatever we as the National Council do, it will be to the best interest.
Okay. Has the National Council done any groundwork in terms of post-COVID-19? Because we see that many organizations are beginning to look toward that point in time when, after this, how are we going to deal with our members? How are we going to engage them? What are some of the predictions that you guys are looking at?
Okay, if I could say here, as of now, we cannot forecast what the losses will be, because we do not know how long we will have to endure COVID-19. And of course, by virtue of the social distancing, we will continue to suffer for as long as COVID-19 is here. So what we've done is, of course, we've engaged or I should say, we are in constant dialogue with the Ministry of Transport and the Minister. Okay, so our dialogue is ongoing whilst we are dealing with, of course, the present situation. So whilst we are looking post-COVID-19, we cannot, as a matter of fact, say, look, this is what we have agreed to do, because it will be an exercise in futility.
Okay. How have the bus operators been responding so far? I guess there's pretty much little option in terms of having to adhere to the emergency protocols and so on. But what is the sentiment on the ground in terms of, okay, this must happen, but I'm at a great loss? What is their sentiment? Does it vary from association to association?
No. Generally, because of the preparatory work, the operators have understood what we were doing, and they know very well that it was never about money, it was never about a title, but it was more about a sacrifice to save the country. And whilst there are a few persons who may have different agendas, a lot of minibus operators who have not had a vacation in years have resorted to taking a vacation. Because I will give you an example. Just imagine you're operating a bus from one of the shortest route by Wynwood and Leeward Brewery in Viewfort. 7 passengers from there to Viewfort, you would just make about $10.50 max. If you remove $5 out of that to replace your fuel, you just did an exercise for $5.50. And chances are, because of the low volume of persons who are traveling, you may just do 5 or 6 trips for the day. So you spend an entire day at your home to come to your family with $30. You cannot ask for more. Yet still, the operators do that, and they understand. They ask questions, and we do answer, and they understand. The other aspect of it is that the government, through the minister and the prime minister, they have expressed their gratitude. They have expressed how thankful they are that the minibus sector adjusted quickly. You're looking at from 14 passengers on a Friday to 10 on a Monday. And by the following Monday, from 10 to 7. So when you look at it, when you understand what we have been doing, and as Mr. Flood said, on every occasion where we've had to adjust in any way or the other, from the rotation island-wide to the number of passengers we've had to even the border, there was constant dialogue with the Minister of Transport. At no point in time did the government or the minister took a decision that the Executive of Council was not involved in the decision making.
Okay.
Yes.
And with the sacrifice that we have seen, the Prime Minister came out with the announcement as part of his social stabilization plan that fuel rebate will be granted to the bus drivers that they have requested. This payment in the sum of $1.1 million. Can you comment on that?
Okay.
Mr. Flood?
Yeah. The fuel rebate mentioned by the Prime Minister. Indeed, I must say it is monies that was owed to operators, and of course, whilst the monies should have been paid in March, because of COVID-19, of course, there was a lull. And what the Prime Minister have agreed to do is, whilst we are continuing negotiations with reference to COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 due to our losses, he've agreed to release that money, that $1.1 million.
In the interim?
In the interim, to allow operators, of course, to get a little reprieve, along with, of course, the moratorium on the mortgage payments and payment of licenses and the insurance. So this $1.1 million will, although it's a drop in the bucket, but it has absolutely nothing to do with our losses for COVID-19. It is monies that was owed to us, and the government has agreed to release it whilst we continue our negotiations, and our negotiations are continuing. As a matter of fact, just prior to this conference here, we had a long conference call with the minister, of course, discussing the way forward.
Okay, what are some of the considerations being made at that point in terms of COVID-19 relief?
In terms of that, what we don't do at any point in time, and we were hoping that question would come up. With negotiations with the government or any body, what we do, we look at the number of areas that we can benefit, and also cutting it on a level playing field for our operators and whoever we're negotiating with. What we would not do is to divulge in detail of that kind of thing, because it is somehow disrespectful. And you would understand if you channel a paper to the government for consideration, it would not be the nicest of things to be having out there. However, during this, if it was not for the COVID period that we're in, we would have what you call a general council meeting. Normally we have it at the conference room, either at Point Seraphin or at the Ministry of Transport at Union, where the executive members of all associations island-wide, including the non-affiliates, we would bring them together and say, okay, these are the things that we are looking for to put forward before the government or whoever we are negotiating with. And when we do that, the final paper, we present it, and then we go back and forth until we come to some kind of agreement. There are times you may get the agreement in principle. There are times you may have a little back and forth. But what we have done and what we continue to do is to monitor daily the losses, the operations, and everything as far as COVID is concerned. What I will tell you is that between January and the end of February, there were 5 meetings to finalize the monies that were previously owed to us by the government through the Minister of Transport. And it was agreed to that that money would have been paid. Now, if you have to look at transportation and the whole thing to do with it, you must have a heart for your country. You must. And that is why we're saying to some persons who are looking at it differently in terms of demanding the money now and all of that, St. Lucia is ours. Is ours. And at no point in time have the government promised us something and that they did not. And if the Executive of Council understood that yes, COVID is approaching and there are certain things the government have to do, it would not be fair to demand the money, whereas we know it's ours. The government will not be taking that money from us. So there is no agitation between us and the government or any majority of persons. There are persons who may not have understood what was said, and the Office of Council is free to call. We are always available. And I must say the President of Council, Mr. Godfrey Ferdinand, unfortunately, he got stuck out of St. Lucia just before the borders were shut. So we in dialogue every day, and he's wishing to come back home. He's in good health, he's in good spirits. Unfortunately, he's not able to come back home. But the dialogue continue, and the Executive of Council try as much as possible to manage what we have before us.
Added to that, Jesse, the reason why you may not hear much of our negotiations with government is because we have, as council, have taken a decision that we, especially in this time, do not adopt an adversarial approach.
Understood.
Because we are not the only ones hurting. The entire nation is hurting. And why should we try to seek from government something that will benefit us only? We want to work with government to ensure that whatever is there, whatever little the government has, will go to everybody. We get what is due to us, whilst the general public, because there are lots of persons who have lost their jobs, okay, and they have a family to take care of. Whilst our operators are able to work and put petrol and probably buy 2 pounds of rice to put on the tables, the others cannot do that. So, you know, we have agreed to at least continue our negotiations with government to ensure that at the end of it, everybody is satisfied.
Okay. Carlton?
Merci, Anchai, Mademoiselle Léance. Encore bon après-midi pour vous qui suivent nous. Nous ici à Headquarters, 20 COVID-19, on nous a promis nous des représentatifs qui a sorti du département de transport à ce site transport. Moi ni en studio et puis moi premier vice-président monsieur Frederick et puis nom qui a pris là même c'est monsieur Michael Flood deuxième nom. Moi dis bonjour et merci pour venir. Moi commencer et puis question en Chay monde peut-être commander les venir pour association hot les venir pour transport ou l'autre qui a parlé par monsieur Jesse il y a ces bagages là ou dit ou joindre et puis ministre qui est responsable pour santé puis transport hot hand et puis yo hot hand comme une organisation pour qui ça
pour discuter merci un peu pour discuter bagaille qui a affecté secteur transport c'est ici parce que pas toutes les nous aller au petit gouvernement discuter avec gouvernement c'est l'argent il pas National Council pas about l'argent parce que en temps qui passé nous tenions des discussions avec gouvernement c'est ici et nous réaliser la nécessité bagaille nous a fait quand si regarder maman à l'école qui pas ni had l'école à suyo pour y payer les on had l'école à suyo pour y payer pour gasoline et diesel manière était so la tenir discussion pour plusieurs mois So gouvernement accepted yo réaliser yo teni pour faire yon paiement rebate. So à sous ligne ça nous réaliser l'argent ça a supposé entrer pour mois mars. Mais vermina entrer. Bon les vermina te ka approcher pays nous teni plusieurs meetings et différents secteurs Saint-Lucie pour faire ces minibus driver minibus et mettre minibus ça yon bagay ka vini qui ka affecter nous. So nous pour mettre nous égal et nous joindre assistant un chaque assistant from Ministry of Health avec Ministry of Transport et Ministry Transport.
La raison on te ka hene puis c'est mon ça premier pas lever maintenant te ka approcher. On te hene consultation c'est pour préparer ces gens qui te parce que nous bien ouais là vini pour monde qui ka agir puis public là. Moun là ka dit premier 7 c'est moun qui ka engagé moun qui ou pas ni mini en chauffeur kay vient contacter puis moun ça. Par raison on te ka hene c'est pour faire assurer ces chauffeurs à préparer quoi yo.
Ah ouais, d'accord.
Eh ben si vous voulez dire c'est mettre minibus ça c'est yon ces raisons. Ou tenir conseil ministre santé puis ministre transport. C'était l'autre bail là moi vle parler en là monsieur Flood. Là vini pour annoncement des bagages moi vle adresser parler de qui manière association point et puis ces chauffeurs puis mettre ces minibus là yon premier là vini pour manière adjustment teni pour fait qui manière ces chauffeurs puis c'est mettre ces minibus là point parce que nous savons avant te cacher 14 moun 15 moun ça descend pour 10 et qui descend pour 7 et nous savons compter bien fait référence là si un homme fait yon voyage là et qui ni 7 moun à boy cacadan pour moi là pour payer un mortgage bagay qui manière ces minibus là puis ces chauffeurs mettre ces bus ça qui manière yo s'ouvrir ça et deuxième bagay là vini pour payer à trouver quoi déviser en nord et sud ou bien parler de ces minibus driver vie forecast à route ça c'est moun ça trouver quoi yo affecté quoi est-ce que on parler petit à quand ça.
OK, si vous pouvez changer bien pour combien d'années qui passé tout le monde des cadeaux bus driver c'est une nation qui plie en AG Saint-Lucie. Tout bail pour yo c'est l'argent. Ça moi voulais moun garder à présent. COVID-19 vient qui a affecté nous tous. Premier 7 semaines qui doit affecter en l'argent yo ka fait pour journée ces minibus drivers. Nous sortis from 15 moun, nous descend pour 10 et nous descend pour 7. Ces chauffeurs de ça dit yo pas travailler because là où 7 moun à $2 c'est $14. En $14 ça là où tu es $5 dedans pour fuel. Ça ouest. Bon en chaque monde qui regarde fuel tout ça, il pas regarder warranty tire, l'huile bail comme ça. So là où des bus drivers qui paid en chaque. Mais you still d'accord pour continuer chaque monde pour ensure that nurse docteur c'est sécurité c'est mon 80 c'est l'hôpital. Oui, travailler essentiel papier côté aussi pour aller. Un gros sacrifice nous a fait. OK et nous avons continué faire pour tout le temps COVID-19 là. Ça c'est contribution nous pour nation. OK whilst nous avons continué négociation nous et puis gouvernement pour garder ça nous avons joindre appui. Adam mon yo peut-être haka joindre nous pour joindre nous pas have quitter nous joindre whilst nous négocier pour venir nous pour savent quitter nous joindre et nous continuer à travailler. So là moi voulais mon ouais that principe là yo ni là venir pour bus operators là that you wrong. Yon pour changer ça. Parce que yo fait sacrifice ça. Si nous c'était un industrie qui garde about la tout seul tout minibus te kay pas ka présent.
OK. Quand on parle de ça yon a ces mots parlant qui vini nous tan annoncement premier ministre lancé ça fait rebate et nous attend $1.1 million qui vini et moun peut dire minibus driver ka hen la et ka bay la parler titak mettez tak clété en les affaires $1.1 million.
OK, $1.1 million ça prime ministre parler about là. Ça c'est l'instant là fuel rebate gouvernement de ka doué minibus operators. Et moi si un chaque monde qui changer l'année en agreement between National Council là, qui a représenté bus drivers et puis gouvernement a sous puits gasoline et puis diesel. Depuis ouvert un certain puits, depuis qu'il a passé ça, le gouvernement n'est pas nous la vivre parce qu'il a affecté nous. Ça ne peut pas appeler quoi. Bus operators, c'est nous qui avons servi plus fuel en pays. La pani
pièce l'autre secteur.
Pièce l'autre secteur qui a servi autant. Parce que peut-être aussi les pour générer l'électricité. So l'argent, ça, ouais, Premier ministre a parlé à bord là, c'est l'argent qui a donné nous. Et que ça, Premier ministre d'accord pour y faire. While pays a right now pas l'argent, because rien pas en tout, il a pas une pièce taxe qui a amassé, rien comme ça. Prime Minister d'accord pour ban nous l'argent ça un côté il ban nous 1.1 million dollars ça là pour at least aider nous oui ban nous un petit soulagement et nous ca continuer négociation nous avec ministre transport et puis gouvernement pour garder qui ça nous d'accord pour couvrir nous pour COVID-19. Raison qui fait nous pour ça il coûte nous $10 $20. Nous pas savons combien de temps COVID-19 continue. So ça nous a commencé négociation nous et quand nous aller nous garder manière si ba a commencé quand vient primaire les ça ouvrir nous ça commencer garder OK well peut-être là venir pour moi juin bien juillet toute bagaille qui vient normal et que ça nous ça
OK. Merci Chay pour explanation ça là. Et moi kay évier à so monsieur Frederick moi kay dit généralement nous tout dans une manière ben l'autre trouver qu'on nous affecté avec 20 000 Covid ça. Et qu'on a bien dit minibus driver fait sacrifice et puis déjà nous ka qui ça y est en compagnie qui affecté en compagnie pas affecté qui est commission unie by ces chauffeurs by mettre minibus les ils viennent pour situation qui commission ni pour bail hodia pour qu'on nous bien dit ça c'est un bagage nous pièce pas have ko aller qui joue ka debout avec manière il end up à bout les toute manière bail ça kay bout qu'on nous ka combattre qui commission kay ni dans la bayo pour bail encouragement et ben pour faire yo ça ka l'air
oui moi yo ça c'est bail là moi voulais apprécier oui merci en chai et tout minibus driver Saint-Lucie. Bon matin moi de parler à mon normalement nous ca une conversation moi dit mais en tout ça qui ca aller là mon coton pièce minibus driver test positif pour Covid et m'a besoin plus passer ça parce que même si yo pas de point soyé mais là on demande un homme qui a soin kaili pour tirer 14 moun pour mener pour 10 moun il n'est pas commencer à chiller là aller sort hot 10 moun pour descendre pour 7 moun si pas côté ka chiller il obligé à chiller bon un même jour à sa fête là où réaliser moun pas ça sortir vieux fort monter ka street so même si il était ka chiller il pas côté point sortir il n'est pas point sortir so ça moi voulais faire c'est pour oui monsieur tout Jean Saint-Lucie pas juste minibus drivers c'est mon qui a battu bus la sorte vieux fort aller n'importe côté vous on est des moun on savent qui a timide habitant mais majorité moun corporate et nous et ces minibus drivers you fait as much as you te savent fait l'autre bail là moi voulais dire là quand nous a parlé là monsieur Flood fait mention pour ça bon matin nous tenons press conference et minister transport et ça nous a gardé pour faire nous a renégocier pour at least pour VMN Limoa pour 10 moun about ces transports mais Ministry of Health aussi a gardé ça et si d'accord most likely by peut-être finissement juin ben en week-end nous a gardé peut-être nombre Limoa kay monter pour 9 comme 7 pour 10 nous request pour 10 mais ça yo ka dire because ça nous te ka garder c'est 3 moun dans le site there et 2 en les chaque les autres et yon doufa
quand vous ka dire match plus pour business so va indice là pour répondre
so proposal là right so proposal là mais more than likely ça nous ka peut-être garder c'est ça yo peut-être ka d'accord pour 9 pour juste ba un petit soulagement il pas rien dire so si ça aller manière supposé aller ça nous ka garder c'est chaque site ni deux moun yon a chaque bout et yon nouvel driver Is bagay vermin ça poko fini. Et nous voulons minibus driver pour point soyer même quand yo point soyer en commencement. Oui, nous voulons remercier le gouvernement Saint-Lucie avant M. Flood vini pour effort yo fait pour engager nous avant bagay ça quand même. Et minibus drivers adjustment là yo fait là les monde qui peut-être pas de play. Mais actuellement moi né l'idée ça yo ka chile that executive of national council nous pas ka dormir à sous nous. Oui. So merci un peu.
Merci monsieur Flood dernier parole.
Ah oui, ça m'a voulu à me dire sur ça là. En bagay qui nous ka exorber à présent. Moun là yo sorti kayo yo quand toi dans supermarket yo dans yo tout ka mettre masque yo. Mais comme ça yo venu pour monter boss là yo ka tirer. Nous voulons dire c'est from lundi qui mandatory that n'importe monde qui ka monter en basse ni pour mettre masque.
Et un bon bagay ou mentionner ça parce que bon matin moi j'ai cité qu'a discuter hier yon dans ces bagay là moi croire en chay moun pas ka changer mais pas vle comprendre ça c'est loi qui passé quand nous état de secours de vermine COVID-19 ça c'est loi qui passé d'être si ou en public et commissionnaire parler de ça hier puis nous si ou en public même manière sou casser coffre c'était avec yo nous avec yo ça weto parce que casser loi même manière pour mettre yon masque en public ou supposé ni massa quoi moi bien content ou toucher à sous CXCE ni pour ça on a dit vini les décider vle yon c'est requirement pour batcher pièce boss c'est pour mettre masque
pour mettre avec chaîne ni passe hier moi double moi ga exorber moun ka sortir à bord minibus yo ka descendre yoni masque là en bag yo comme ça yo ouvert à terre from minibus là c'est là yo ka tirer yo ka mettre. So nous avons dit, même si nous avons mis pour tuer SNS, tuer Marseille, n'importe côté, on est pour chaîner à sous le sous-bas là.
Pièce l'autre dernier parole à dire ça.
Moi je voulais continuer à encourager ces bus operators là. Nous savons capiger, nous savons bagaille mauvais, nous savons que l'argent qu'on fait c'est juste contre l'argent pour mettre fuel à la machine et peut-être acheter un petit commission mener caillou. Quand c'est National Council qui travaille nous la négocier en négociation avec le gouvernement pour ensure que les bagages ça a passé nous tout kay to prendre satisfaction comme ça pour à présent pays à carré pays à capiger nous ne pour venir ensemble et faire contribution nous qu'on nous a fait et nous pas mettre trop pressure sur le gouvernement à présent pour ban tout ça yo doit nous le monde a d'accord nous avons accepté et nous avons travaillé sur ça et garder ça qui plaît nous ça
aussi avant nous aller nous pas ça oublier police là département police cette ici yosa ban nous tout support yosa man l'idée là ni rien police Saint-Lucie ça fait by minibus drivers encore vini pour causer border pour même si les yon a des fantimistique peut-être yo te supposé ni 17 ni 11 police là travaille et moi voulais remercier chef police Saint-Lucie et toute l'autre police qui travaille Saint-Lucie à tout l'autre département pour effort ça pour assister ces bus operators là I don't white. Oui.
Eh bien, messieurs, dames, Mili ou Tani, qu'on nous te promette pour ni conversation, cette discussion, sans chaque question, nous avons déjà répondu. Pas oublier, nous ni Facebook, là, nous avons demandé des questions, qu'on nous peut, nous avons répondu. Encore, nous avons remercié tellement. Ici, c'est headquarters pour COVID-19. C'est là, nous avons information, développement qui a pris coup, là, nous pour faire, et puis, les affaires COVID là. Qu'on nous avons dit, nous avons continuellement dit, messieurs, dames, c'est une situation nous pièces pas jamais trouver qu'on nous en dedans quand nous aller nous apprendre merci en chai pour être en écouter puis nous Jesse.
Thank you. As the NCOPT representatives mentioned, they're keeping the negotiations with government confidential, to avoid an adversarial atmosphere between the two parties. But the government of St. Lucia did announce in its social stabilization plan that it was considering the waiver on vehicle license fees. Can you tell us speak on the significance of this relief for bus operators, as well as the other reliefs outlined in the social stabilization plan for bus operators?
Okay, as you would be aware that the Ministry of Transport by the, I'm just getting the date, by the 27th of March, along with the Office of NCOPT, shut down. Now, the renewal of permits is an ongoing thing. Therefore, prior to that, we submitted a letter to the Minister of Transport, and we were requesting specific things for our sector. And we realized that it would be unfair that a minibus operator would probably have to get a ticket for an unpaid route permit, a driver's license, and so on. And the government did agree, over the phone, I must say, because the thought came, we engaged the minister, and he said, look, in as much as we close it now, I can call the relevant persons, and then the paperwork went on just as fast as this. So this package is simply that while the offices are closed, and must I say it will be reopened on Monday, the Ministry of Transport and also the Office of NCOPT. The policy, we will set that before we close here today. The Ministry of Transport need the papers from NCOPT, properly signed and processed, in order to renew the permit for your sticker, the road tax, and also the driver's license. The only requirement, however, would have been that the insurance of that minibus be paid. So in terms of your driver's license, in terms of your route permit and also your road tax, there was a waiver on it for the period in which the ministry and NCOPT office is closed.
Okay. As we wrap up, if you could just make an appeal to bus drivers as well as patrons of the public transport system. We know that punitive measures have been, the transport minister, the acting commissioner of police has warned that punitive measures would be taken if there is any violation. So an appeal from the NCOPT.
Okay. From the NCOPT, we are very, very grateful to the people of St. Lucia, not just to the minibus operators, but the people of St. Lucia. What we try to do, and yes, we admit persons are complaining that we did not do the PR and all of that. But the truth of the matter is we were running on fumes in terms of getting stuff done to save our country. And that worked pretty well. What we want to do is to appeal to the public, the commuting public, to adhere to the rules that are set. Wear your mask, the 9 persons, the 7 persons, comply with. We are also asking the drivers and appealing to the drivers to comply with the rules that are set, the laws that are there, because the police have been more than good. I would say the police department, flawless when it comes to dealing with minibus operators. And you know we have 1 or 2 troublesome ones, but that we can take care of. The government of St. Lucia, the office of NCOPT is extremely grateful for the assistance we have received during this period of time. And not just that, the media. The media, I remember the very first press conference right here with the CMO and the we were asked certain questions and the records remain. What we have to understand, the whole process here was not money driven. It was to save St. Lucia, and we know from the end of March, from the shutdown, the reduction from the 14th to the 10th, no minibus operator have made a single cent of profit in terms of operating a minibus. We know it has been lost, and it is an ultimate sacrifice to save the country. So we are very grateful that persons have understood, and as we said, coming hopefully before the weekend, we have negotiated and we continue to try to increase the number from 7 to 10. But as we speak, we are looking at an agreement for about 9 in the format of 2 in every seat, commencing from the back, and 1 at the front with the driver. Also, I must say, we are negotiating intensely with the government through the Ministry of Transport, also in discussions with the Ministry of Health, in that looking at persons who are traveling from Viewfort that must, MUST, be in across the border, so that in the event that is agreed upon, you don't have everybody traveling to and from Castries or Viewfort or Soufrière, Free F, Soufrière to Castries. In that persons who are working at cul-de-sac, in the event those places are open, they will be permitted to cross through those borders with a valid reason or something to say that you're working in cul-de-sac from Viewfort. But that is ongoing, and hopefully at the end of the day, we should be able to get something before we go into the weekend.
Just I want to make a slight alteration to something the first Vice President mentioned. By virtue of not having the same sitting capacity with all the buses we have on the road, because we still have 12 seaters operating.
Yes.
I want to make it abundantly clear that there are buses that will not be able to carry 9 passengers if and when it comes to that. It must at all times be 2 passengers to every seat in the back of the vehicle and 1 in the front with the driver. So in the case where you have a 12-seater with 3 rows of seats to the back, that bus will continue carrying 7 persons. Okay. Whilst the 14 seaters with 4 seats to the back and 1 to the front, 2 to each seat in the back and 1 to the front at all times. So again, there are buses that will not be allowed to carry 9.
Okay, understood. Any final words on your part, Mr. Flood?
Well, for me, what I want to say is, of course, I want to continue thanking the bus operators for the sacrifices that they've been making over the last few weeks, and of course, they will have to continue making moving forward. I want to thank the general public for at least understanding and cooperating with bus drivers, because there are cases where a bus may reach a point where 14 or 15, 20 persons are waiting, and only 7 persons could board the bus, and the others have to stay back. So I want to thank them for the cooperation and understanding. Also, I want to take this opportunity to thank like Mr. Frederick did, our police officers, our nurses, our doctors. Those are the persons who are on the front line protecting us. Whilst people may see the contribution as bus operators we're making as vital, their contribution is much more vital than that, because without them being there, our lives are at risk, our business is at risk, and I want to make sure that we do whatever we can to always give thanks to our essential workers, because without them, I do not think we could survive COVID-19.
First and second Vice President of the National Council on Public Transport, Mr. Kentry Frederick and Mr. Michael Flood, respectively. Thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Thank you.
We do appreciate your time very much. The government of St. Lucia, in its social stabilization plan, has agreed to provide a fuel rebate to the bus drivers, facilitating the payment of the requested fuel rebate to minibus operators. Government is also considering the waiver of vehicle license fees for bus drivers and taxi drivers. So that is some relief options, therefore a relief offer there for the minibus operators in St. Lucia. That's all the time we have for now. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off on behalf of the entire production team here on NTN Live at the GIS studios. We encourage you to stay tuned for more programming from NTN. Goodbye.